from KB Diesel Performance. All the gaskets come with it and the new part. So this is going to be replaced. And I did not diagnose this truck, but I'm just the labor guy at this point. But I was told, he's like, he doesn't believe, he wanted to go this route first because if you pull the oil, look at that, there's definitely a yellowish tint to that oil in this truck. And we'll see what it is. Can't really tell in there. It looks clean, don't look black. We'll see once we get it off though. So we're gonna put on this. This is a big single aftermarket turbo, obviously aftermarket turbo, aftermarket injectors type truck, making good power. And apparently he thought this is what he needed, so we're gonna replace that for him. So if it sits this way on the engine, we got 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3. Obviously your oil filter will already be off. Let's see, you'll have to get these two off right here. And then this side has the coolant hose that runs to the front. You'll have to wiggle that out or undo the bolts in the front and get that pipe loose. First steps to this are drain all oil and drain all coolant. Alright, this is an O2, so it does have that drain valve in the right front. Coolant's coming out. It does look oil free so far, so that's good. However, this oil, see right there, there definitely seems to be, it's not much, but there's a couple streaks of something else. And the owner didn't want to drive this truck hard because it is built for racing, so he just wanted to get this done before he drives it. Now, unfortunately, unless you have a clear piece of tubing that fits nicely over this drain, if I undid this, it would just shoot all over his control arms and all this stuff. And so you could just let it sit here and drain for forever, because it is 4 gallons of coolant that are coming out. Or what I'm probably going to do once I put the camera down is untwist it with my hand a little bit and just let it shoot into my hand and drop it down. That way it only takes a minute to come out instead of 20 minutes. Okay, I just removed this boost tube. Don't know what brand this boost tube is, but it is aftermarket obviously. And I got some stuff in the holes just in case, since this truck's gonna be sitting like this overnight. Now the reason why I did that is, see right there, right where that light's at, those two, that water, I need to get those 4 bolts, because that pipe that goes all the way down is what connects to the big part right there. So to get this off, I really need 1, 2 bolts, and then the 7 that hold this on, and then I should be able to get it off. So drop the oil filter, and then start working on those 7 bolts. Potentially, since this is 4-wheel drive, move the drive shaft if you need to. Alright, as you can see right about there, those are studs, and those have a nut on them, so that's probably going to leak some coolant right there, so you need to be ready for that when that comes out. What's going to happen is that's going to become loose, and you're going to pretty much yank it backwards to get that out, and then you can finagle it how you want. But I did those studs first. First thing I did, they are right here, 2 12 millimeters, and I was able to access them with a ratcheting, a flex head ratcheting box wrench, combo wrench, whatever it's called. But the flex head and the ratcheting part came in quite handy. I was able to get the first one from right here, from the tire. The other side, the bottom side, I had to lay down on my back. So on a 4-wheel drive, This is a huge pain. The 3 bolts that are the easiest to get to on the 2-wheel drive are the hardest on the 4-wheel drive. So if I had a 4-wheel drive, this would have already been, or 2-wheel drive, like on my truck, this would have already been out. But I can see why some people are saying undo the engine mount, lift it up a little bit to get out the way, or I mean, I don't really know what else to do. I'm at the point where I have every bolt loose except for one, and unfortunately the engine may have to come up, because I'm gonna have to see where I can get creative and not. The good news about this job is that none of the bolts are tight. That tightest torque spec is 18 foot-pounds, so that's the good news. The bad news is on a 4-wheel drive, nothing's easy. And I don't like how they use studs everywhere. That might be a problem on disassembly and reassembly. I hope I don't have to remove any studs, because there's studs in the front on that coolant rail, and there's studs on the block. Let me show you what I'm talking about real quick. So here it is. I got the 2 in the front, 1, 2, real easy. I got that one right there, easy. I got this one on the edge right here. It's already loose. I'm just leaving it in there so it don't fall. The one in the back corner, you can't even see from right here because it would be probably the hardest one on a 2-wheel drive. But the back corner one I already got out. Now the hard part is 1 and 2 right there. Obviously on a 2-wheel drive, all this is not here. Bam, super easy, probably the easiest 2 of the whole bit. On this truck, I got this one loose right here with a 1/4 inch drive on a 12, no extension, and it just had room to clear, and I got it. This back one, there's not room for an extension. There's not really room for a socket either, and there's definitely, and neither one of these can take a flex head. So it's like, this is my dilemma right now. How am I going to get that back one right there? That back one's going to be the one that determines if the motor mount needs done and come up. So next night, I started to think about doing the engine bolts, the mounts. I had undone the skid plate, and then I wanted to give it one more try. I had found this socket right here. It is a 12 on a wobble, and with this and a 12-inch extension, and with, you know, some extra leverage from a box wrench, I was able to get her out. Now everything's loose. I'm going to, there's 2 studs on the coolant adapter. They're in there very loosely, I think 96 inch-pounds. So take a 6mm socket, and you should be able to get them out. It'll just help you slide everything out together once the studs are out of the way. So I'm gonna do that, and it's probably recommended at this point. I think everybody's doing it. The studs on the back of the water pump, I'm gonna leave in place and try to get it done. I might have to take those out too. Hope not, but I might have to. We'll see. Just got it out. Honestly, I would rather, haven't even put it back in yet, but I can already say I'd rather do injectors than do this. This kind of sucks. Because this thing's full of coolant, and you gotta, because this pipe's still connected to it, when you gotta twist it and give it out. So basically, you just dump coolant on your face. And as you can see, my shoulder's drenched, and there's no way around that. Maybe it'd be different on a 2-wheel drive, might be a lot more space, but on this 4-wheel drive, no other way that's happening. I was able to get it out with only pulling 1 stud from here. As you can see right there, now I gotta figure out, I gotta clean up that gasket and look at. There's the other spots kind of right there. Clean up everything as best I can and get back to reinstalling tomorrow. I don't think, for me, I'm gonna have a helper putting it back in because I won't trust myself that it ain't gonna leak. And I'd rather just do this once, make sure it seals nice, and everybody's happy, and I don't have to do this again. But I think just because of that front pipe, and you have to line up it with the stud, and you can't really see where you're lining it up, that alone I think you need a helper to get it done. So alright, there's what she looks like. There's the oil port, coolant port, both have been cleaned and ready for reinstall the new part. Alright, so as you can see, got it back in. It's a nice shiny pump. I still gotta put the two studs, torque them down to the 18. Actually, it might be kind of hard to get a torque wrench back there. That might just be torqued to whatever hand tight I can get it, including that stud. I've got it in there with a 1/4-inch drive ratchet tightness. I think it's supposed to be, the two on the block are 96 inch-pounds. I would assume, which is like, what, 5 foot-pounds or something? 6 foot-pounds, 8 foot-pounds, something like that. Let's show you what it looks like from underneath. I used a torque wrench to get everything to 18 foot-pounds. There was only one bolt on this 4-wheel drive. There was only one bolt. Okay, there's the studs right there. The studs themselves, 96 inch-pounds. The bolts, the nuts on the studs, 18 foot-pounds. And then 1, 2, 3, 18 foot-pounds. And then there's one right there. And then there's one way in the back that you can't see. Both those are also 18 foot-pounds. The only one I couldn't get with the 3/8 drive torque wrench was that closest one to me. That one, and all the other ones I was able to get with the torque wrench. That one I just snugged it up as best I can, and then put a new oil filter on. So everything's bolted up and snugged up as tight as it's gonna get. That's what that looks like right there. Going down, there's that down there. That's all torqued. Alright, so now I just gotta pray that whenever I put it back together it don't leak. I have everything back on. I gotta wait till tomorrow to do the oil filter, but I'm gonna put the boost tube and the wheel fender cover back on. That way tomorrow all I have to do is add oil, filter, coolant, and start the truck. One reason why it's okay, I'm not gonna add coolant tonight. I read the label for that red RTV right there. It said wait 24 hours before adding fluid, so we're gonna follow the directions this time since there's no rush, and hopefully tomorrow we've got good results. Alright boys, we got her all back together. I don't know, the truck runs great. I don't know if y'all can hear that turbo, but this thing is a ton of aftermarket racing parts. Obviously traction bars, a bunch of braces up front. Based on all this, I'm assuming it's have a built trans. I don't know, but it's definitely got a big turbo. The owner said it had 45 over injectors or something. So this truck puts out some power, and it looks pretty good too. We just moved it out back right now, but she's running good, and I think we're gonna call this job a lock and over with. I can't really see. I was up there with the flashlight a little bit ago, and there's no leaks, so I think this is a oil cooler swap complete.